Announcements. At last week's Visionary, or last 2 weeks ago, Visionaries, we talked about we're going to be doing a pajama, sock, and underwear drive. And it is going to benefit Haven House this year, and we're teaming up with the Rancho Observer. They've done this. Where's Susan? How many years have you done this now?
About 6.
So about 6 years. So instead of us recreating the wheel, we're going to partner and just try and make their event much, much bigger. Mike over here has brought about 50 boxes.
Yep.
Nice.
So if everyone on your way out who is interested in supporting this event and putting a box up at your place of business.
So, as you can imagine, it must take a very talented individual to lead an organization as big and as complex as Presbyterian. Unfortunately, we have that leader here with us today, Presbyterian's President and CEO, Jim Hinton, who has been with Presbyterian for 28 years, and I know that number because that's how old I am. So I always go by my age. And that is too. I will share with you that he is one of the most adored CEOs in New Mexico by all of our employees, many community leaders, elected officials, state officials, and I'll tell you what. He is very funny. He's charismatic. He is the true definition of a visionary leader, and you'll learn a little bit more about that as Debbie interviews him. He also has the power of positivity. So he always challenges us at Presbyterian how to be better, how to achieve excellence. He always asks us the question of how it can be done versus if it can be done. So I will leave you with this before Debbie starts to interview him. Not only is he one of the most respected CEOs in the state of New Mexico, but he is also one of the most respected healthcare CEOs in the nation, and he's right here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Jim Hinton.
And I really think that I've had several mentors in my career. Good leaders is when they will open themselves up to mentoring. You know, a lot of people think they've got it all figured out, and trust me, you don't. There's a lot of people you can learn from in this life, and so really opening yourself up to the feedback, to why those people are successful, and what you can learn from them, I think is really key. Well, I wasn't always this way. I mean, I tried to flunk out of college my first year. I tried as hard as I could, and I think when I was done with my freshman year, I had a 1.2 GPA. I was on academic probation. I had sampled the world's beers in great quantities. I actually took a semester off, and I went and worked construction in the spring semester of what would have been my sophomore year. And my dad was a contractor, and so he bought me these really cool nail bags, those leather nail bags that probably some of the guys wear around on the weekend, even though they're not doing any construction. And so I got my cool nail bags, and I got my cool hammer and my measuring tape, and I went and worked on these apartments up on Montgomery, up on the very east end of Montgomery. In the spring, and the wind blows out into Harris Canyon at about 40 miles an hour, and it's cold. And I was working around some guys who were, old, like 52.
Hey.
And that was what they had done their whole lives. And while that's honorable work, I guess something in my brain kind of clicked, and I just knew at that point that I really needed to get serious if I wanted to do something else. And I think. I don't mean this as a bragging comment, but I think from that moment on, I never got anything but an A in college or graduate school, and I just decided to apply myself. And just like everybody, if you apply yourself, you can do whatever you want. I was working over at UNM Hospital in the admitting department on nights to pay for school, and the administrator came by, and he said, introduced himself, and it's Bill Johnson, for those of you that know him, he's still rocking around this community. And he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm going to go to law school." And he said, "Well, why do you want to go to law school?" And I said, "I don't know, it seems like something you can do with an economics degree." And Bill said, "Have you ever considered healthcare administration?" And honestly, until that moment in my life, I had never thought for 2 minutes about who ran hospitals, what is the structure, who owns them, doctors, nurses, all this stuff. And so that was one of those examples of where, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And so Bill was really very influential in asking me the right question at the right time. And I decided to go to graduate school instead of law school. To that input, and I learned mostly from our people at Presbyterian. We have these amazing people. We have 9,400 employees, and every one of them is smarter than I am in some way. And so my goal as a leader is to find out that way that person is smarter than me and learn from them. And it's really lifts you up. I think the one that I would just share is, disciplined people, disciplined processes, and disciplined action. And I think for a big organization, it's getting people lined up. It's building momentum towards goals, and so I think it's that sense of discipline. So we do a couple of things. We hire for succession. Anytime you're hiring somebody at Presbyterian, you must be asking the question, not whether they're just able to do the job you're hiring them for, but are they able to do the next job or the next job. The second thing we do is we have what we call executive excellence, which is an internal leadership development program where we identify 8 to 10 high potential leaders who can potentially move up into our senior most leadership team. And then we put them through an advanced leadership development program where they work together on a project that is an action learning project that is focused on a real problem within Presbyterian, not just a theoretical problem. And then as part of that, we match them up with a mentor. And they can then learn from that mentor. And some of those mentor relationships continue for years. Others, you outgrow one another and you move on. We're committed to that.
How do you think a young leader, sole proprietor in this group, would you recommend that they find someone, sort of that mentor, and get that link going to help them through their career?
Only if they want to be successful.
Yep. Would you recommend that they find someone, sort of that mentor, and get that link going to help them through their career?
Only if they want to be successful. Yep. About Rio Rancho is, I grew up in Albuquerque, and I come out here, and I sort of expected to have Rio Rancho define itself as not Albuquerque. So we're not Albuquerque, and I don't hear that a lot. What I hear is it's a city of vision. It's a place of opportunity, and so if not here, where? And if not now, when? And if not you, who's going to do it? And so I just think it's a great time to be healthy, to be alive, to be working in a community like Rio Rancho. Attitude is everything. There's a lot of people that have skills. Skills are a dime a dozen. Skills are a dime a dozen. So you all have skills, I assume. You can do something, right? No? Okay. But how do you bring that passion and that energy and that attitude to making a difference in your own business and in your community?